Good morning, greetings friends, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I am your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your health and vitality and well-being, and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body. You are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health challenge. That is why we are here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 32 years of practicing pharmacy, I've seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like acne, psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds, recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle. But what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure, because the human biological system is a healing system. It's a regenerating system. It is a renewing system. Moment to moment, it renews, it regenerates, and it heals itself. And while some folks may call that a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, a comment or success story you'd like to share, 844-236-6010 is our number. 844-236-6010. If you want to purchase longevity products, go to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. And don't forget to click on the Join the Team link and start a longevity business. Even if you just want to get your products at the wholesale price for a $25 fee, you can get your products wholesale, or you can start yourself a business selling longevity products and helping spread the word about the power and importance of a good nutritional supplement program. Also want to remind you to check out our Truth Skin Health products, truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. We've got new products coming out here over the coming maybe 4 or 8 weeks. So even if you've been on the site, you might want to keep checking. Also, we do blog posts and skin health stories. I've been doing Facebook posts, Facebook videos, and also Instagram videos. If you're on, you want to get our Instagram videos, go to Truth Treatments, pound Truth Treatments on Instagram or Facebook. You can sign up or like or follow, I guess you'd say, our Truth Treatments page, which you could find just by doing a search for Truth Treatments. So I'll probably do an Instagram video this week sometime. All right. 844-236-6010 is our number, and we do have lines open for you. We have been getting a little bit in the weeds. Got an email here from a guy I was communicating with this morning. I think he may be listening. Chief, if you're out there, he says, what's up with your podcasts? You are becoming unlistenable. Really? That's kind of harsh, Chief. Get back to basics, Ben. Too much woo-woo. However, not likely to listen. I don't know what that means. Just ask yourself, would your mom and dad listen to this new age Boulder, Colorado hippy-dippy stuff? He tells, and then he continues to say, you will be off the air before 2020. Anyway, I wrote back to him. I said, thanks for the note and taking time to write. For the record, and this is what I want everybody to understand, I know we're going in the weeds here, and when I wrote back to Big Chief, I want everybody to understand this. For the record, my objective in doing a daily podcast radio show is to help as many people as I can get and stay well. And in my opinion, the so-called woo is really fundamental to how a healthy body functions. This is what I wrote to him. This is what I think. Respectfully, and I didn't mean this in a bad way at all, but this is the fact. Respectfully, entertainment and listening pleasure are secondary concerns. Yes, I want to be entertaining. Yes, I want to be pleasurable to listen to. But I also, primarily, most importantly, I'm here to help people. And it's not fair just to say to take this formula or that formula. In my opinion, this is just my opinion, to take this formula or that formula or take this supplement or that supplement or this vitamin or that vitamin without at least explaining how this whole thing works. And to understand how it works, you got to go in the weeds, because that's just how reality is. And our brains are not trained or conditioned to dive deep, to go to the very small part, to the very small that builds up the very big. And because of that, we get screwed. We get screwed by drug companies. We get screwed by supplement companies. We get screwed by doctors. We get screwed by alternative practitioners and chiropractors, and we got more of them than anywhere, and we're sicker than anybody because we're getting screwed. So my mission is to point out where all this stuff begins so that we can have leverage and power, because leverage always occurs at the most fundamental levels. And I'm sorry to say, we are electrical in nature primarily. That means the most fundamental levels of us are electrical. And unfortunately, we've been told that's woo-woo. It's not. It's electricity. Quantum sounds woo-woo, but it's not, because we run our computers on quantum, we run our scanners on quantum, our CD players on quantum, and our bodies are quantum. So anyway, I just wanted to pass that through. And in fairness, Chief wrote back to me and was very nice and said that he was being tongue-in-cheek. And anyway, I thought that was just an interesting note, and I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there, on the one hand, who think like Chief, and on the other hand, I think there's a lot of folks out there who appreciate this. Hopefully, anyway. I can't be the only person who finds this stuff unbelievably fascinating as well as unbelievably important. So anyway, our last program we finished up, we were talking about atoms. Atoms exist in relationship with each other. They don't exist by themselves. They either exist in relationship with each other as a bunch of different atoms. That's what a mineral is. A mineral is a bunch of atoms stuck together. They tend to be different unless they're racist minerals, or racist atoms, I'm sorry. Unless they're racist atoms. They're atoms that only want to stick with their own kind. Racist atoms, atoms that only stick with their own kind, are called metals. That's what a metal is. A metal is a bunch of atoms that are all unique. Like, for example, copper. A copper wire is made up of all copper. You don't have any magnesium in a copper wire. You don't have any zinc in a copper wire. You don't have any other mineral atoms in a copper wire. It's purely copper, and that's what makes it such a great conductor. That's what makes metals in general such a great conductor, and that's what has made metals so incredibly important in human history. They have an incredible ability to conduct energy. And we actually even name our historical epochs, our historical eras, in terms of metals. The Bronze Age, the Iron Age. Recently, we live in the Steel Age, the Copper Age. All of these ages represent periods of time when we basically made weapons. We made weapons based on specific technologies that allowed us to develop these metals. Metal workers were, throughout history, the most important people in the society, in the culture, because metals are so darn important. Mostly to make weapons. That's mostly what they use these metals for. Anyway, metals are coherent in a way. Because they're all the same atoms, they're very conductive, and this gives them very important properties. We use them in our homes, our factories, our offices, and our cars. Pretty much everywhere in our 21st century world, we've got these metals that are conductive, electrically conductive. And electrical conduction just means that electricity, or really specifically tiny pieces of electricity, electrons. I always feel funny saying electrons because it sounds so, I'm sure people, it sounds quantum, it sounds woo-woo, but it's not. It's just pieces of electricity. So called pieces of electricity pass through these metals. Some metals will pass pieces of electricity more than others. The most conductive, the most electrically conductive of all the metals, the metal which passes electrons, pieces of electricity, the most, with the least resistance, I should say, is silver. Silver is the most conductive of all metals. Conductivity is a balance, a relationship between how smoothly electricity flows versus resistance, how non-smoothly it flows. So the most conductive, the one with the least resistance, the metal with the least resistance, and the most conductive is silver, followed by copper, and then gold. Aluminum and zinc are also pretty good conductors. Iron is a conductor, not a very good one, but it's a conductor. Platinum, lead are somewhat conductive. But for the most part, you're looking at silver, copper, and gold in our culture, and then a little bit of aluminum sometimes. No, not even. I would say silver, copper, and gold. Those are the biggies. And the thing about these conductive metals, what makes them so conductive is they're variable. They have a variable nature. They're unstable. This is a very important point, and this is what makes them so hard to understand. This is the hardest in the whole world of nutrition. This is the hardest stuff to understand what we're talking about here. Even healthcare professionals don't really understand this part, but we're going to go over it here so it becomes understandable, a little more understandable. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. Okay, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number, and we do have lines open for you. If you have questions about anything we're speaking about here today, a comment or success story, if you have a health challenge you or a loved one is dealing with, and you want a good nutritional protocol, we can help you. 844-236-6010 is our number. Check out our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com, and check out all the longevity products at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com, or call 866-735-2470 for more information. All right, got lines open, 844-236-6010. We're talking about metals, and it's still nutrition. There's a lot of these nutritional metals, and most of the nutritional metals are conductive. They conduct. Not all of them, certainly. Metals being substances in the body that conduct energy, or substances, I should say, that conduct electrical energy in the body. They conduct electrical energy, and this conduction of electrical energy requires a variable nature. They have to go bounce back and forth. And this bouncing back and forth from one state to another, one electronic shape, if you will, to another, makes them confusing, makes them hard to understand. They are very confusing and very hard to understand. That's what happens when something's variable, but the variability is required for electrical energy. They transit to T-R-A-N-S, transport, transit, transitional, means to go from one state to another, and they actually call these transitional metals. They go from one state to another, they're unstable, and this plays a role in how conductive they're going to be. Instability is a prerequisite for conduction. Something has to be unstable to be able to conduct effectively. Rocks are very stable. They don't conduct. Rocks are minerals. Minerals are very stable. They don't conduct. Think of a wave at a stadium. People have to move up and down for the wave to propagate. Waves are really cool, right? If you've ever seen them from above, they look really cool. People stand up, they sit down, they stand up, they sit down. As you move through the stadium, people stand up. It's called the wave. You guys know what I'm talking about. If one group in the stadium doesn't move, the wave will be blocked. It will stop. You might say that those people who aren't moving are resistant. That's what resistance is, an inability to be flexible, an inability to go up and down, ability to move. For conduction to occur, for energy to flow, resistance has to be low. There is a metaphor there. There's a very important metaphor there. If you're stubborn and resistant and you don't change, you're not going to be able to move energy and electricity. Interestingly, as we age, we become more resistant. Our brains become more resistant. Our bodies become more resistant. Our bodies become more like a rock than a metal. They become less conductive. That's what aging is. Aging is resistance to electricity. Kids have unbelievably low resistance to electricity. They're open to everything. You know, kids can learn languages like thousands of times faster than an adult or an old person. An old person, forget it. An old person never going to learn a new language. Kids can learn them really easily. Kids become bilingual and trilingual even really easily because they have low resistance. The nature of resistance and electricity and conduction that we talk about with atoms and with the body and with metals has a very important psychological metaphor. You don't want to be resistant to electrical energy. You don't want to be resistant to idea energy. You don't want to be resistant to change. Resistance is a marker of aging, whether it's electrical resistance or psychic resistance, psychological resistance. Anyway, the search, by the way, for zero resistance is one of the holy grails of technology. It's called superconductivity. Superconductivity is the ability of energy to flow with zero resistance. Everything's, even silver, which has the least resistance of any of the metals and it's the most conductive, it has a little bit of resistance. Resistance is measured by heat, so you get a little bit of heat loss with silver even, but certainly with copper and with other, that's why your things get hot. That's why your electrical systems get hot. Your iPhone gets hot. Even an iPhone, which is utilizing super high-tech conductivity, gets hot eventually. Superconductivity is when it doesn't get hot. when it doesn't give off heat. Electrical conduction without heat, electrical conduction without resistance, and it's the holy grail of technology. Because as soon as they can figure that out, they can have instantaneous movement of energy and instantaneous movement of information. Right now, it's pretty fast, even with resistance, but without resistance, that is amazing. And guess what? It turns out that the human body may have beaten our scientists to superconductivity. There are researchers who believe that the brain is superconductive. At least elements of the brain are superconductive. That our DNA, our cells themselves have the ability to superconduct, which basically creates instantaneous communication, which basically means the whole system is operating as a unit, which is exactly how it happens. So I wouldn't be surprised if they find out that the whole darn system is superconductive. Anyway, in the body, you've got conductive metals that have a very interesting property. They transit. They change their electrical nature, and they change their ability to conduct pretty readily. They're called literally transition metals, and this ability to change their electrical configuration makes them at times very toxic. Mercury is a transition metal. Cadmium is a transition metal. The ones you hear about that have all the toxicity associated with them tend to be transition metals. And when you hear nutrition, for the most part, is non-toxic. That's one of the things that's really cool about nutrition. But occasionally, there are minerals that you can take too much of, and they tend to be your transition metals. Zinc, you can take too much of. You're not going to die. Well, you could take enough, I suppose, and overload the system, but it'd be hard. The therapeutic window of nutritional zinc is pretty large. It's not as large as vitamin C. It's all relative. So zinc, iodine, selenium, you can tox out on these things because they're transition metals. The transition metals, the metals that bounce around in electronic configuration, that's where you're going to have a problem in the world of nutrition. That's where you're going to have a problem in the world of biology. And that's what makes these metals, these minerals, so confusing. Probably the most confusing topic in all of nutrition is the topic of the transition metals, which makes sense because they're not stable. They're going from one thing to another. Even nutritionists have a hard time understanding transition metals. Doctors, for sure. Alternative care practitioners who know a lot about foods and supplements still find the subject of the nutritional importance of these very bizarre, strange minerals, the transition metals, very hard to understand. And by the way, everything we're talking about here today is called, and we've been talking about for a while now, is called PChem. There's a bumper sticker, famous bumper sticker that people buy when they're trying to get their chemistry degree called honk, where it says honk if you pass PChem. PChem stands for physics chemistry, and has a reputation for being the hardest part of chemistry to understand. If you're getting a chemistry degree, nobody takes it except for pharmacists and chemists. Pharmacists take a dumbed-down version of it. Chemists have to take PChem, which is physics and chemistry. The physics of chemistry. The physics of minerals, the physics of metals are classic examples of PChem, and the relevance of PChem to technology, to electronics, and especially to the human body. Transition metal chemistry, selenium, iodine, zinc, those are the big ones. Selenium, iodine, and zinc are the big transition metals. Manganese is a transition metal. Anyway, we'll continue this discussion on our next Brightside episode. We'll take your phone calls when we come back from our break. 844-236-6010 is our number. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll be back after this. On the bright side, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. 844-236-6010. I want to. I was going to read a story here, and then get your phone calls. 844-236-6010 is our number. We do have lines open for you. Can a cocktail of vitamins and steroids cure a major killer in hospitals? Can a cocktail of vitamins and steroids cure a major killer in hospitals? Scientists have launched 2 large studies to test a medical treatment that, if proven effective, could have an enormous impact on the leading cause of death in American hospitals. Well, what do you suppose the leading cause of death is? It's something called sepsis. Sepsis is when the body's inflammatory system just goes crazy in reaction to an infection. And this can lead to organ failure and damage, organ failure, and ultimately it can lead to death. 700 Americans a year die from this condition of sepsis, which affects 1 million people every year. Sepsis is basically dirty blood. It's actually blood with infection that's been infected by bacteria, but basically it's the same idea. It's inflamed, dirty blood. What I've been talking about here for years is a condition called subclinical sepsis, which is not infective, but it's just dirty blood. I call it dirty blood. Subclinical sepsis, we could call it non-infectious sepsis, is dirty blood that's caused by immune reaction. Same idea, though. You get an inflammatory response. Instead of in response to an infection, though, you get to bacteria, you get it in response to food toxins and food allergens. So what is this marvelous new medical treatment that researchers are studying that are being examined in 2 large studies? It's vitamin C, it's thiamine, and it's steroids. This is a medical cocktail of 2 nutrients and a steroid drug. The steroids are there to suppress the inflammation. The vitamin C and the B1 are there to support cell chemistry, especially blood cell chemistry and especially white blood cell chemistry, immune cell chemistry. So vitamin C and vitamin B1, as it turns out, are nutrients that are important for the blood. Now, you don't need the steroids. The steroids are just suppressing the inflammatory response. The bottom line here is this is not a medical treatment. This is a nutritional treatment with a little medicine in it. And that's how we want to look at these things. The modern medical model likes to co-opt nutrition when it is in their interest to do so, usually when it involves drugs. That's why you have essential fatty acids as a drug. EFAs as a drug. That's why you have the B vitamins as a drug, an anti-cancer substance called the Myers cocktail. You'll find that when nutrients work, they get co-opted by the medical model. Oftentimes, they become pharmaceutical drugs. We don't need to do that. We don't need the medical model's approval to take advantage of these things. So vitamins don't work except when they do. Vitamins don't work except when doctors say they do. Vitamins don't work except when you have some kind of authority figure that approves their use, is the bottom line. You don't need an authority figure, people. The body is constructed such that what we call nutrients are incorporated and used by biochemistry and cells. What we call drugs are not. It's really as simple as that. What we call the mighty 90 essential nutrients, and you can throw in the macronutrients, proteins and fats and carbs, are used by cells in the body. They're used by the cells, simply put. Drugs are not used by the cells, and a drug will not take the cell, or a cell will not take the drug without paying the price. If a cell, you can force a cell, you can compel a cell to take a drug, but it will only take a drug at its own to its own peril. There is no drug that will not imperil a cell. None. Vitamins and nutrients, on the other hand, are incorporated by the cell and used by the cell to perform their duties. That's the distinction between nutrition and drugs. And for my money, I'm using the nutrients because that's what my cells are using. Simple as that. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. Richard from Florida has been holding on for a long time. Let's say good morning to Richard. What's up, buddy?
Good morning, Ben. Yes, over the past several years, I've dealt with different instances of basal cell carcinoma.
Okay.
And I wanted to know if the 5% retinol gel will help, protect the skin better.
Yes, retinol is protective against cancer. Absolutely. Do you have the keratosis the solar keratoses kinds of things, little growths that appear? Actinic keratosis, they call it. Yeah, that's where retinol really excels. It'll get rid of actinic keratosis. And those are the things that turn into the cancers.
Okay.
So yes, retinol is definitely protective, especially our retinol, which is made with a bunch of vitamin C. So I would definitely recommend it. It is strong, though. Also, keep in mind, it is strong.
I actually started using it, and my skin's adapting to it now. It doesn't irritate like it first did. So
now, did it cause irritation or did it cause flake? Tell me about your experience with it. This is the 5%, right?
No, it didn't. It didn't cause flakiness, but it did cause some irritation. And I've been doing it it started out with maybe once a week.
How does your skin look?
I can do it like. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And now I can do it like every other day without.
Oh, really?
Any
That's quite frequent. That's quite frequent every other day.
Yeah.
But that's fine. How's your skin looking? Is the bottom line.
It's looking better, and I actually can tell the smoothness has increased of my skin.
And how long's it been?
It just feels. It's been about a month now.
Oh, only a month. Okay, well, you're not going to believe what happens over the coming months. Usually, a month is good though, and that's a lot though. You're using quite a bit. But if you're not getting irritated, that's great, and I would continue to use it. I do have a 1% that I usually recommend people start off with, and then work into the 5%. So you've already worked through it, so I wouldn't worry about it. But for anybody out there who wants to get a high-power retinol with vitamin C, our Truth Transdermal C Serum, our Truth Retinol Gel, which Richard is talking about, our 5% gel, is made with vitamin C, a transdermal matrix, and that's it. There's no preservatives, there's no fragrances, there's no fillers, there's no water, there's no oil, there's no silicone, there's nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want. I do recommend people start off with the Retinol 1% gel. It's available at truthtreatments.com. Truthtreatments.com. Also, make sure, Richard, you're using essential fatty acids. That's the most important supplement to take when you start retinol. In fact, irritation, inflammation can result from destabilized skin cells that are deficient in fats, especially vitamin A, internal vitamin A, and then also, most importantly, essential fatty acids, EFAs.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right, good. I'm glad you're having good results, and thanks for your call. Appreciate it. Take care. And let's move on to Rick. We'll get Rick real quick here. Rick, we got to take a break, but why don't you start off, and then we'll put you back on hold. What's going on, buddy?
Hi, Mrs. Ben. First, I disagree with that original writer to you. There is a spiritual component to health.
Yes.
And those of us who are strong Christians, we can sort through. It's not
okay. Good. Praise God. I got it. That's good. Because you got to parse between what I'm talking about here. But you know what? Okay. It says in the Bible, those who have eyes to see or those who have ears to hear, something along those lines, right?
But real quickly, I want to.
Well, hang on though, Richard. I want to hear what you have to say. You sound like a very smart guy. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear everything. But I got to take a commercial break. Can you hold?
We'll catch you in a minute.
Okay, good. Thanks, Rich. Thanks, Rick. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. Got lines open for you, and we'll be back on the bright side right after this. Back on the bright side, 844-236-6010 is our number, 844-236-6010. We're talking to Rick in Michigan.
Yeah.
Get you up here, Rick. Hey, Rick. All right, so what's going on? How can we help you?
Well, I've got a question about inflamed, patchy skin around the nose, eyebrows,
got it.
Scalp, especially along the hairline.
Got it.
Something son is dealing with that I used to deal with years ago. Just to give you a background, he gets a full range of omega-3s and a full range of chelated minerals. So we can eliminate.
Yeah, here's the deal. If you're omega-3s are part of the picture, but omega-6s are also important. So when I hear you say that, it kind of makes me feel like he's maybe missing out on the omega-6s. There's a lot of misinformation about the omega-3s and the omega-6s, and there's people saying don't do the omega-6s. You don't need omega-6s. Omega-6s are bad. And that's not true at all. The skin is very dependent on omega-6 fatty acids, and because we cook most of the oils that have omega-6 in them, or we eat the processed kind, we don't really get a lot of omega-6s either. So you need them both. Especially if you have eczema, which that's what it sounds like he's dealing with. And there's a special kind of omega-6 called GLA, which can be very helpful topically as well as internally. So it may be that he's deficient. It may also be that he's not absorbing. So you got to work on absorption. Whenever you have a condition on the skin like that, the way you're describing, fats. I got one word for you, fats. Fats. And when I say fats, I mean fatty vitamins, I mean essential fatty acids, and I mean fatty minerals, zinc especially, and also selenium. And I also mean helping the body absorb and process those fats. So probiotics, bile salts, digestive enzymes, apple cider vinegar with meals, lecithin granules, ox bile, all in addition to fats and fatty vitamins. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Very good. Is it possible that it's gut related too? Could it be a gluten intolerant type thing that causes it?
What's that?
Could it be gluten related? Could it be gut health related?
Absolutely. It can be gluten related. That would cause inflammation. Absolutely. That would all do it. But it wouldn't do it. Well, it could do it directly. It could do it directly. But usually it involves some intestinal problem, and that would impair fats. I'm not sure if the gluten does it directly or the gluten impairs fat absorption. But either way, gluten could be a problem. Yes, absolutely. Food allergies in general, food intolerances. The mechanism may be fat absorption, though. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, good. Keep up the good work on that. So you would approach it from a topical standpoint as well as making sure the other alternative fats besides just omega-3s, too.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Omega-6s, like I say, omega-6s are... Omega-6s in particular are very, very important for the skin and very underappreciated, especially if you have eczema, but also, if you have acne skin tends to be deficient in omega-6s. So it's kind of counterintuitive. People think, oh, I got oily skin, I got acne, I shouldn't take fats or I shouldn't use fats. Well, it turns out that acneic skin is also deficient in omega-6s. Rashy skin is deficient in omega-6s. Enzymatic skin is also deficient in omega-6s. So, yes, and working on the absorption side of the equation as well.
Very good, because I used to suffer with that too, but for a long time I've been on a paleo diet. Avocados almost every day, which obviously is an omega-6 component. So I never deal with that, even though we have similar systems. So,
say that one more time.
Well, I get through a paleo diet. I used to suffer from the same thing he does a long, long time ago without, but now on a paleo diet, I never deal with that. So maybe it's the omega-6s I get naturally that.
Yes, omega-6s, the paleo diet is going to get you omega-6s for sure.
Okay.
Especially if are you eating a lot like grass-fed or anything?
Some of his bread and fast food and all that stuff.
Well, you know what? There's lots of ways to get omega-6s from foods that are underappreciated, and grasses are one of them. Greens are one of them. Green leafy vegetables. So you can get them from grass-fed animals too. Grass is also a great source of omega-3s too. Grains are typically, which are grass seeds, are typically where most people get their omega-6s. But because I was saying earlier, we process our oils, etc.
Yes.
So, all right. I hope I helped.
Thank you for the information. Keep up the good
buddy.
work.
Take care. Okay, thank you, Rick. Bye-bye. Truth Raider, what's going on, man?
Yes, good morning, Ben. Yeah, I don't know what you think about this or not, but a friend of mine, my friend in New York, was talking to me about, you were talking at the top of the hour about metals, which ones are conductive, that can be therapeutic, and that can help us. There's a product out there by a company called Synergy, and it's a small box. It looks like a quarter of the size of a remote control device. Maybe it's about slightly smaller than a cell phone, a little fatter in size, and it has 2 copper points on the top of it. And they have like 2 pennies. There's like a silver. Some of them have silver pennies, some have copper pennies. You keep those clean. It's battery operated. Put a 9-volt battery on it. You put it on your skin, wrap it up or something. Put a wristband or a headband or an armband or something to keep it on your body. And it's supposed to kill all kinds of parasites and bacteria and illnesses and help you prevent cancer. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't. What's the company? It's called Synergy?
The company is, but the product, the thing is called the Zapper. Synergy
Zapper. That's a little bit different kind of electricity. That's not cellular electricity. That's more like a macroscopic electricity. Maybe it kills, I don't know. Maybe it kills the bacterial cells. I'm not sure how that would work. I would have to look that up. What is the metal they're using? Did you say silver?
Is copper, there's 2 points on the back of the on one side, and the other side is just the frame of the body. It's a black box. It's more like a black box type of a thing. And turn it on. It emits the electricity. The copper points are on your skin, and it goes through the body. And you wear it through the night, or you wear it any time that you have ailment for a certain period of time.
It smells a little. It's kind of these pseudoscience things. It kind of gives this whole electrical quantum thing a bad name. It sounds a little sketchy. I'd have to look it up though. I wouldn't want to make a judgment on it just based on what you're saying, but it sounds a bit on the sketchy side. Yeah, the fact that electronics work and that the body's electrical and it's a crystal and a liquid, the membranes process energy, superconduction, and semi-permeable energy, semiconductors, I should say, membrane semiconductors, and all the electronic nature of the body and the electronic nature of cells is really important. But then you get the things that are on the sketchier side, and that's kind of sounds like that. Although I'm not going to go out on a limb and make a claim on what it is until I read up about it. But just because the body's electrical doesn't mean everything that you buy on the internet or people tell you about at the chiropractor's office or that supposedly works with the electrical nature of the body is going to be beneficial. I'm not saying anything about that particular thing, though. I'd have to look into that. Does that make sense?
The reason why I'm bringing it up to you is my friend from New York has a testimony about it. He got one of these little electrical devices.
Right.
He had a terrible rash and an infection on his started like a rash. Then it's a terrible painful irritation up around his knee and his the part of the leg and up to the femur. And it turned into a terrible infection, and it would not go away with no type of treatment.
And this thing eliminated it.
It eventually, it took.
Well, send me a link. I'm open to hearing about that. Will you send me a link?
Sure.
Yeah, send me a link to that. And then if you have your friend's phone number, if he wants to talk to me, I'd love to talk to him about it. I'm open to all those things. I usually don't pay a lot of attention to anecdotal reports because they're not controlled, especially the placebo effect is not controlled. So I have, but I'm open-minded. I don't want to be skeptical about it just based on what I've heard. So if you send me a link, I would love to look into that. And if you could send me your buddy's phone number, that would be great too. Anything else there, Carl, the Truth Raider?
Yeah, well, my friend down the street right here is giving up. I'm trying to get him to call you, but I have no control over what somebody else does.
No, I don't talk to anybody unless they want to talk to me first anyway.
Right. He's dying of bone cancer, and they said he's got 2 to 3 months to live.
That is definitely a bummer. Bone cancer is one of the most miserable cancers you can have. I mean, they're all miserable. Carl, the Truth Raider, I'm out of time, buddy, but thank you for your call, and please send me a link on that. I want to look into that, okay? And I'll talk about it on the air after I read up on it. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for listening to The Bright Side. Please check out our websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com for the longevity products, and truthtreatments.com for all our Truth Skin Health products. Truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. Have yourselves a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.